word lines. I may drop some Chinese words in there, but I try not to go there. So I'm just going to call this the inside wrist point for now. Okay, the upper inside wrist point. If I go 2 fingers above the wrist, there's a spot right here that runs right along the bone. Right here. Right. So this is the spot actually that controls the opening and closing of the hand. Very, very simply. So if Ben was going to grab, and if I can activate this a couple of different ways. I can hit a point, I can push a point, or I can rub a point. Right? This one's got a couple applications. So just to give you a simple application, if I put my thumb there and press, he's not going to want to hold on too long. Right? It's very, very simple. All right? And actually, I'm working off a sprained thumb, so I apologize. Right? How this can work, all right? I teach this in a women's self-defense class as an easy, low-profile getaway. So if someone grabs on, I'll take my I'm going to have Stanley make a fist, right? And I don't want you to let me bend your wrist, okay? So I'm going to. Okay, that's pretty good, all right? Yeah, and if I touch that point, I like using the bony part of my wrist. I would like using something a little harder, all right? If I just touch that spot, the wrist will bend very easily. Okay, you okay? Go ahead, all right. So again, we'll bend it. Now I might be able to muscle somebody if I was bigger and stronger, all right? But if I touch that spot, again, using the bony part of my wrist, right, the wrist will bend very easily. Everybody see how that works? All right? Try that, and then we're going to give you a practical application of why. Ben does your wrist lock, right? Here, we'll do a start off. Here we go. That's it, right? I used to be a bouncer. And you try to get all fancy with your shit, and you go, ha! And they go, dude, what are you doing? But if we don't do that in class, because we're trained to do the wrist lock and go, yay! All right? We've got to think practically. All right? So there's a couple reasons we don't do that. One, this makes more sense. Grab this way. All right? 2, remember we said this point weakens the hand, and this point weakens the wrist? When you grab this way, and do a little turn, you're activating those 2 pressure points. All right? One more time. Now he goes. Because by grabbing it that way, you're activating 2 points. And there's a third, we'll talk about in a second. I'm weakening the hand, weakening the wrist. This way he's strong. All I'm trying to do is muscle. This way, I weaken the structure on that joint. Does that make sense? You can do a lot of good stuff at that point. If he grabs, right, I can rub that spot to get him off. I use it as a target spot because if I say that's a point, right, when I press on that spot, it's doing something very unique. One, it is weakening the structure of the wrist a little bit, but it's causing the wrist to turn in 3 different directions at the same time. And so when we do this wrist lock, I want you to think about 1, 2, 3. Right? Those are the 3 spots I'm going to press on. What that does is it causes the wrist to turn this way, and this way all at the same time. So I don't want people to think about it. I want to go, I go to classes and we get into these esoteric deep theories about joint locking and talk about 3 concentric circles. And look, don't think about it. Right? Yeah, we're doing that, but if you've got to think about how am I going to turn this wrist in 3 different ways that you're never going to get. If you grab the wrist, that activates 2 pressure points, but I don't talk about that. If I push here, that activates a pressure point too. Well, I'm trying to just grab the wrist and push here. Everything will reverse engineer its way out. So if I go here and here, whether he makes a fist or not, and pull, push, and drop, he's going to go a lot quicker. Does that make sense? All right.